Hi there, folks. Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. It is so great to be along with you today on a historic day. Historic for many reasons. One, America is back. The shock and awe president is back. It is a new day, and a little breaking news for you. The CBP One app shut down. Not only is it no longer taking appointments, the CBP One app has a message on there that says all appointments are now declared invalid. The border is closed. No more open door policy. We expect over 200 executive orders from President Trump today. This is fabulous. So historic that President Trump is back. Historic on what's going to happen to turn around America within literally just minutes of taking the oath of office. We're going to go through some of his highlights from his speech, and I thought it was a great speech, an unapologetic speech. Some people call it partisan. You can call it partisan if you want. I call it truth. President Trump campaigned on what he spelled out in his speech today. So why would this surprise anybody? And then, of course, the pardons. Here is my takeaway from the pardons, because I've done a lot of research on this. The Supreme Court has ruled that if you accept a pardon, and accepting the pardon is essential to the validity of the pardon, you also tell the world that you are guilty. This is according to a Supreme Court ruling. We go back to the late 1800s into 1915, another Supreme Court ruling that says you must accept the pardon to be valid. And it also means that when you accept that pardon, it is an imputation of guilt, basically an admission. So that should give us little consequence, though, or little solace in the fact that we want these people held responsible. I'm going to go through how we hold them responsible today, and we will be able to hold them responsible, but it's going to take some creativity here. With that, before I get into the program, I want to tell you about my friends over at Colonial Metals Group. FreeGoldGuide.com is where I want you to go. You should really consider creating a precious metals 401k or IRA. We know that Trump in the gold in the Trump era is going to continue to go up because of what we're seeing in the world, because of the massive amount of spending, because of, yes, inflation. Even though President Trump gets this in check, there's no way he's going to be able to balance our budget anytime soon, which makes gold still a very viable asset for you to have. It has stood the test of time in times like this. So again, colonialmetalsgroup.com. They've helped so many of our Rumble viewers here really protect their portfolio with gold. Again, freegoldguide.com/grant, or you can call them at 800-458-7356, 800-458-7356, freegoldguide.com. All right, folks, the pardons. Did you know in 1886, first off, to all my friends out there that say the president can't make a blanket pardon for any and all crimes committed before, he most certainly can. Now, it may very well be unconstitutional, and the arguments being made that it's unconstitutional may very well be valid. The problem is it's going to take the Supreme Court to overturn itself. The Supreme Court ruled in 1886 that, quote, pardons are plenary and can be exercised either before legal proceedings taken or during their pendency or after conviction and judgment. So pardons can happen at any time. Supreme Court made that clear in 1886. They also made it clear in 1915, and this is what's really important. This was a ruling called Burdick versus United States in 1915. And it basically says that acceptance of a pardon is essential to the validity. If rejected by the person to whom it's tendered, the court has no power to force it on him. So has everyone accepted? I saw Dr. Fauci said he's thankful for the pardon, but says he didn't need it. He didn't commit any crimes. Well, so what is it? You accepting it? Because if you accepted it, according to this 1915 ruling, once you do that, the pardon carries a, quote, imputation of guilt. which is virtually an admission of guilt, that accepting the pardon is an admission that you did something wrong along the way. So that would mean to me that these ass clowns, General Mark Milley, Adam Schiff, Fauci, and Liz Cheney, they did something wrong. We know that the J6 committee was weaponized against President Trump. We know that Adam Schiff for sure leaked classified information to the mainstream media. We know General Milley, by his own admission, made an end run around President Trump, started calling foreign adversaries, telling the foreign adversaries he'd give them a tip-off if President Trump was ever going to do anything or initiate some kind of a strike against our enemies. You're going to tip our enemies off? That is treasonous. Excuse me. So here's my takeaway on these pardons. What Joe Biden did was he pardoned treasonous behavior. These people were going after President Trump with a vengeance to steal power from the people of the United States of America. That's treason. So you pardoned traitors to this great country of ours. Now, Joe Biden, and I want to remind you, said this. He was asked about preemptive pardons.
President Trump is reportedly considering a wave of preemptive pardons. Does this concern you? All these preemptive pardons?
Well, it concerns me in terms of what kind of precedent it sets and how the rest of the world looks at us as a nation of laws and justice. You're not going to see in our administration that kind of approach to pardons. Nor are you going to see in our administration the approach to making policy by tweets. It's just going to be a totally different way in which we approach the justice system.
Oh, yeah, it is. Totally weaponized. Now, again, that was a total lie. Remember, he's already pardoned Hunter Biden with a complete and total pardon. He's also pardoned, by the way, many of his family members, his sister, his two brothers. He's got an uncle thrown in there. I believe it was 5 family members in total were pardoned by Joe Biden. 5 members of his family in the final minutes of office, pardoned by him. But he says, I'm not going to do that. Now, what's interesting is a couple weeks ago, Joe Biden was asked about pardoning himself. Now, when I tell you accepting a pardon is an admission of guilt, Joe Biden apparently agrees with me on this. All right, so the DOJ, by the way, last month sent a note to J6 defendants that accepting a pardon is an admission of guilt. That directly from the DOJ to J6 prisoners. So this philosophy that when you accept a pardon is an admission is really set in stone legally. Joe Biden even backs that up here.
Also, sir, on pardons, have you ruled out a pardon for yourself or any other additional members of the family?
For myself?
Yes, sir.
What would I pardon myself for?
That's what I'm asking.
No, I have no contemplation of pardoning myself for anything. I didn't do anything wrong.
Mr. President, would you comment on Meta's decision to...
He didn't do anything wrong. He says, why would I pardon myself? It was hard to hear. Let me play it again.
Also, sir, on pardons, have you ruled out a pardon for yourself or any other additional members of the family?
For myself?
Yes, sir.
What would I pardon myself for?
That's what I'm asking.
No, I have no contemplation of pardoning myself for anything. I didn't do anything wrong.
Mr. President...
All right, so he looks bewildered there. Well, why would I pardon myself? I'm sure Joe Biden believes he didn't do anything wrong. We know he did. All right, this is the delusional state of sociopaths, okay, that are willing to abuse their positions of power to become wildly wealthy, roll over on the American people. Talk about treasonous and traitor. I think Joe Biden may fall into that category with what he did, selling the United States out. But he literally says, why would I pardon myself? I didn't do anything. That tells me that he believes you only pardon people who did. So again, who are people that did do something? General Mark Milley, Adam Schiff, the new senator from California now, Dr. Fauci, and Liz Cheney. They were deceitful in just about everything that those characters did. Let me remind you about Dr. Fauci.
But they're really criticizing science because I represent science.
If you're vaccinated, you really don't need to worry about getting it in a way that's serious or transmitting it.
That is true. That is correct, Chris.
It's not.
It'll need to protect you completely against infection, and the chances are very likely that you'll not be able to transmit it to other people. The risk is extremely low of transmitting it to anybody else. Full stop. Vaccinated people are clearly capable of transmitting the infection. When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better. If people are not wearing masks, then maybe we should be mandating it.
You see what I mean? This is the kind of back and forth flip-flopping that put the screws to the American people that had children, 2 years old, 1 year old, wearing these face diapers that literally stunted their speech, stunted their growth of emotional growth because they couldn't see people's faces. The damage that this man did, not to mention rolling out that horrific you-know-what. Now, I'm still broadcasting to YouTube today, so I can't talk. I usually don't talk about that on when I broadcast to YouTube, but you know what I'm talking about, which to me makes Dr. Fauci one of the, well, let's just say if you kill Frosted Flakes, what does that make you, huh? If you kill Frosted Flakes, what does that make you? So I speak in code for my friends at YouTube, which, by the way, the CEO of YouTube, of Google, was at the inauguration today, along with all these big tech CEOs. You had Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg enabled the treasonous behavior of Dr. Fauci and Liz Cheney and the J6 committee and Adam Schiff and Hunter Biden. He enabled all of this stuff. So you had Zuckerberg, you had the CEO of Google, which is YouTube, by the way, Jeff Bezos at Amazon, and then Elon Musk was there with them. I don't trust any of these people. I believe the CEO of TikTok America was there as well. Now, folks, my handle at TikTok is not Grant Stinchfield because they wiped me off the face of the map at TikTok. I go back on, figuring maybe I'll trick them with not Grant Stinchfield. But what are these people doing in very prominent positions at this inauguration event too? And I promise you, if this was Kamala Harris being sworn in today, and thank the Lord Jesus it's not, those same big tech oligarchs would have been standing right there in the front row also yucking it up. I don't trust these people. These are vipers. They really are. And Elon, though I'm a fan of Elon Musk, I am. I think he did great things for President Trump. Elon runs in a different lane than President Trump does. I just would offer up to President Trump, be careful with Elon. You don't want to get tied to some of the things that Elon may be tied to. But again, I'm okay with Elon hanging around. Just be careful. I'm not okay with the Zuckerbergs and Google CEOs. I guess they say keep your enemies close. But these guys are really, really, really bad news. So what about Adam Kinzinger? What does he say about all these pardons? I will tell you this in 1 second, but before I do that, folks, I want to tell you about my friends over at get21now.com. How would you like to make 21% on your investment interest annualized but paid monthly? This is, I call it mailbox money. This 21% annualized interest is direct deposited into your account like clockwork. The folks over there at get21now.com have lived up to their promises to me. I'm actually now contemplating making a bigger investment with them because it's been working out so well. Where can I make 21% of my money that is contractually locked into? Not very many places. No overhead, no employees, no headaches. And I can tell you this, get21now.com donates to a lot of groups I support, including veterans and first responders and those kinds of things. These guys think like us. President Trump going to be the cryptocurrency. Get21now.com is about Bitcoin mining. But without getting into all the nitty gritty, you don't have to deal with the big swings. You lock into your 21% annualized interest. You're locked into the monthly payments. You can't beat this thing. Again, get21now.com, get21now.com. Pay them a visit. And when they get back with you, either answer the phone or call them back. I mean it. You're going to want to talk to them. All right. What does Adam Kinzinger say? This is a man who is no longer in Congress, thank God. But what did he say about preemptive pardons?
The only reason I know to ask for a pardon is because you think you've committed a crime.
I only know of one reason to seek a pardon, because you're worried that you're guilty, that you committed a crime.
So that lines up with what the Supreme Court says. Now, Adam Kinzinger, will the mainstream media go to you and say, excuse me, sir, do you accept the pardon? If you accept the pardon, do you accept your role of guilty behavior? He'll say he accepts the pardon, but he'll say he doesn't accept the role of guilty behavior, but it doesn't match because you're either guilty or you're not. There's no in between. All right. Kinzinger again. No, excuse me. Adam Schiff. All right. Now, remember, who do we have get the pardons issued to? Milley, Schiff, Fauci, and Liz Cheney. So this is Adam Schiff.
Schiff, with you responding to what you just heard there.
Well, let me just say, with respect to some of the nominees like Kash Patel, this is someone, in my view, who is not qualified to be FBI director, and someone who claimed, for example, that he wanted to shut down FBI headquarters early in his tenure and open a museum to the deep state. So this is a conspiracy theorist. It's also someone, I think, who demonstrated, sadly, a principle of the first Trump administration, and that is you rise to the level of your sycophancy, and the bigger the sycophant, the higher you rise. He's risen pretty high, but that's not what we're looking for.
How about the question about the January 6th pardons?
Greatly concerned about it. First of all, that he could pardon people that beat police officers, gouged them, bear sprayed them, but also, even beyond that, just the general message it would send, George, that his first pardons are going to go to people who sought through the use of violence at the Capitol to stop the peaceful transfer of power.
But think about the last pardons of Joe Biden. The last pardons of Joe Biden was his family, who sought to benefit financially off the people of the United States of America. And his last pardons happened to be this clown, Adam Schiff, who decided to weaponize his committee, weaponize the Justice Department to go after President Trump to keep him out of office at all costs. Thankfully, it did not work. I'll play more from him because it's interesting to see the hypocrisy from these people.
That played some role in that. Really, that's who he wants to pardon. The American people, I think, voted for him in part because they wanted something done about crime, not because they wanted to see him pardon criminals attacking the government. They want something done about fentanyl. They want something done about California smash-and-grab robberies. This is not what they had in mind, not political revenge, not rewarding people who participated in an insurrection to stop the transfer of power.
The president-elect has also talked about prosecuting members of the January 6th committee like you. I know you said you don't want a preemptive pardon from President Biden. Is that because you think the Trump administration will not actually prosecute?
I don't know what the Trump administration will do, but it's for a couple of reasons. First, those of us on the committee are very proud of the work we did. We were doing vital, quintessential oversight.
You were doing garbage, nonsense bullshit, quite frankly. Proud of what? Going after an innocent man and literally spitting in the face of millions of Americans.
Site of a violent attack on the Capitol. But so I think it's unnecessary. But second, the precedent of giving blanket pardons, preemptive blanket pardons on the way out of an administration, I think is a precedent we don't want to set.
And you've communicated that to the President Biden?
Communicated it both publicly and privately to the administration.
All right, well, the administration didn't listen. They gave you your pardon. I want to know now officially, Adam Schiff, do you accept the pardon? If you do, you're admitting guilt. And if you don't accept the pardon, and you're free not to, by the way. So this is what I want the mainstream media to get. You don't have to accept this pardon. Just because you're pardoned doesn't mean the pardon stands. The Supreme Court has ruled in order for the pardon to be in place, you have to accept it. The president cannot force the pardon on you. If you don't accept it, then you're going to be hanging out in the DOJ wind. So Adam Schiff, do you accept it or not? And when you accept it, that means you also accept some amount of guilt in all of this. Again, The quote from the Supreme Court is, acceptance is essential to validity. Now, as I mentioned, the DOJ sent a message to J6ers telling them that if they accept the pardon, it is an admission of guilt. So they know the gist here through all of this. Now, what will happen next? Joe Biden also, by the way, pardoned Michael Fanone, J6 police officer, who was literally beating people by what I've seen back. They pardoned him. Joe Biden pardoned Byrd, Officer Byrd of the Capitol Police, who shot and killed Ashley Babbitt. They got pardoned. So what Joe Biden's doing is going around giving these pardons of people who he knows are guilty of something, and he's protecting them. So how can we push back? This is what I believe. We need to go to attorneys general in red states, find the best of the best. Maybe Ken Paxton is one. Go find, the attorney general in Florida is now going to be a United States senator, but maybe her parting shot out the door would be to charge these people with state crimes. And I would imagine that you could find state crimes to charge them with. There's plenty of rights that were violated on behalf of the people of Texas or Florida. Maybe Ken Paxton wants to get involved, that were violated, that we could charge these people on a state crime. The pardons from a president are not good at a state level. They're only good at a federal level. So we shall see if that actually happens. Now, what about the mis and disinformation? This is Joe Biden, okay? And this is why, his pardons are laughable, because this is a little trip down memory lane. Just listen.
50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. They have said that this has all the 5 former heads of the CIA, both parties, say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage.
This is classic Trump. We have 4 days left, and all of a sudden there's a laptop. There's overwhelming evidence that from the intelligence community that the Russians are engaged.
I still think that the stories from the fall about your son Hunter were Russian disinformation and a smear campaign, like you said.
Yes. I know you'd ask it. I have no...
So there you go on pushing disinformation. Joe Biden didn't pardon himself. I wonder what President Trump will do when it comes to Joe Biden and his role in profiting off his positions of power. Now, Ratchet in the Rumble channel says, my good friends over at Real America's Voice are confirming what I've told you. They take it a step further. Let me read it to you. And thank you, Ratchet, for the comment. Moreno Bannon, maybe that means Maureen Bannon, maybe, and Jack Posobiec were just talking that someone who accepted a pardon means Schiff should not be allowed to serve on any committees, as it is an admission of guilt. Interesting. The Supreme Court clearly says, as I've spelled out for you, that when you accept the pardon, you have an air of guilt about you. And their exact words are an imputation of guilt. If you are guilty of these things, though we have not specified the crimes, would that bar you from serving on these committees? My honest assessment is it probably wouldn't. Now, could you get members of Congress to pass some kind of rule that if you admit guilt in a crime, you can't serve on a committee? Maybe that's the way you go about it. But I don't know just right off the bat, just because they've admitted guilt means they can't serve. Because I don't think there's any rule about being a convicted felon and serving in the United States Congress. I think you still can do that. And it doesn't mean you don't have to be on any committees either. So we shall see how that plays out. It'll be interesting. This is from this Birdnick United States. This is what I was talking about. A pardoned man must introduce the pardon into court proceedings. Otherwise, the pardon must be disregarded by the court. That's basically the acceptance, unless you accept it. To do this, the pardoned man must accept the pardon. If the pardon is rejected, it cannot be forced upon him. A pardon carries the imputation of guilt. and accepting a pardon is an admission of guilt. This from Burdick versus United States, 1915. So there you have it. We need the mainstream media to go to every single one of these people and ask them, do you admit guilt or do you not admit guilt? That should be fascinating to see how that plays out. All right, President Trump gave what I thought was a fabulous inauguration address today. I'm so bummed it wasn't outside with 200,000 people and let us argue about how many people were there or not. But it was historic in its own right in the Capitol Rotunda. I'm going to go through some of his clips here in just a moment. But before I do, I want to tell you about my friends over at Patriot Mobile. Every time you make a phone call, when you have a Patriot Mobile phone, you know that some of the proceeds of that call are going to be going to push conservative causes. Okay, this is why I'm with Patriot Mobile. It's America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. This is a parallel economy. I want you giving business to companies that believe in the things we do, in the ideals that America was built on. This is Patriot Mobile. The leadership of this company stand in the gap when everybody's coming at them. They do that for us. I, in many respects, say we owe it to the men and women at Patriot Mobile in leadership positions to be with them because of the arrows that they take for us. So you get to pick which network you're on. So you're not going to sacrifice service. Switching is totally easy. You can keep your phone, upgrade, get a new phone, whatever you want to do. They'll make it happen for you. 100% US-based customer service makes it super easy. So here's what you do. Go to patriotmobile.com/Grant. That's patriotmobile.com/Grant. Use the promo code GRANT for a free month's service, which is a nice savings. Or you just call them at 972-PATRIOT, 972-PATRIOT, and you tell them that Grant Stinchfield sent you. All right, turning now to the inauguration of President Trump. What a great speech it was. Now, before I play it, I want you to think about this. I think in 2016, it was a massive celebration. We had won. We had 8 years of Obama. We showed them, yes, we're going to turn this country around. But even President Trump, I don't think, was quite knew exactly what he was going to do. It took him a little while to figure out the logistics, to get the right staff in place. Well, now, through all the pomp and circumstances beyond that, he knows what it's like to be president. He's not giddy with excitement. He's focused with resolve to get our country back on track. Again, this is going to be the shock and awe president of common sense. And I think we see that today on the first day, him rolling out these 200-plus executive orders, securing the border within minutes. As I said, CBP One app shut down within moments of taking the oath of office. All appointments made on the CBP One app are now negated, no longer will be able to be used. They're invalidated, as it says on the screen. So President Trump is focused. His speech was not about a celebration. His speech was about promises made, promises kept. Here's what I offered you during the campaign. This is what I'm going to deliver. And the two line up. So people say, oh, well, the speech was partisan. Yeah, it was partisan because that's what he campaigned on. He campaigned on doing these things.
Those who wish to stop our cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life. Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then and believe even more so now that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Amen to that. Saved by God to make America great again, to a standing ovation. And yes, Melania shakes her head yes, too. Boy, I thought she looked beautiful, too, by the way. She always does. But man, oh, man. She reminded me of one of those French fashion plate pen and ink drawings of the beautiful woman with the hat. Fabulous. But President Trump was saved by God. I believe God had his hand in the election as well. I believe God played a role in keeping him safe. It doesn't mean you take away people's free will, like from the Secret Service. Why do you think they were inside today? I don't think they were inside because of the cold weather. I think they were inside because of the threats against President Trump. So please, God, keep your protective hand on President Trump's shoulder. We need you now more than ever as they try to wipe us off the face of the map.
From this moment on, America's decline is over.
You know, in many respects, that sums up the whole thing right there. America's decline is over. I am so grateful for this. Folks, I know you worked hard on this. I have been working for 4 years and 3 months. And honestly, before that, from the moment he announced his run coming down that escalator, I have been all in, all invested in President Trump, trying to get this man everything he needs to make America great again. And you know what? Today is a culmination of all of that hard work. So here's the thing. You can't rest. You can't sit back and enjoy it. I want you to. And I guess today I'll give you a break. You sit back and enjoy it today. But mark my words. This fight is not over. This defense of President Trump that we need to put up for him does not end today now that he's in office. Does it get a little easier for him to protect himself? Absolutely. The media is not going to change. The Democrats are not going to change. They're beaten down and broken a little bit now. You see them battered, right? You see them not as strong as they were because they just lost the Super Bowl of politics. Mark my words, they're going to come back. They're going to re-energize. They'll get some more devious game plans to take out President Trump if they don't try to kill him again. So I'm telling all of you, you are the frontline soldiers, all right? From taking the messages you hear on podcasts and networks like this, to talking about it at the water cooler, to defending President Trump and what we're trying to do to make America great again, to your family and other moderates and leftists. This is going to be up to us to have his back. Because these leftists aren't going anywhere. They are going to be out for blood because once they start to dust themselves off after this beatdown that they received, they're going to be angrier than ever before. So the vipers are starting to wake back up. It's almost like wintertime. The reptiles go dormant, and then they're going to start to wake up here at any moment. So we shall see. This is President Trump talking about MLK Day.
I've heard your voices in the campaign, and I look forward to working with you in the years to come. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and his honor, this will be a great honor, but in his honor, we will strive together to make his dream a reality. We will make his dream come true.
And that deserves a standing ovation because Dr. Martin Luther King was such an important figure for us in American history. This was a guy of common sense. This is also a guy that I truly do believe was a conservative. So today's MLK Day, and I think it's fitting that the racist President Trump was inaugurated on MLK Day. Boy, sounds real racist. Nelly playing at his ball. Snoop Dogg playing at the crypto ball. All these actors, performers, entertainers that were so against Trump, they're back. They realized they were duped by the mainstream media. And speaking of being down and out and battered down and beaten down, I would offer up that the mainstream media falls most certainly into that category. Now, I told you that one of the most important things to happen today was President Trump shutting down the CBP-1 app, an app that goes on your phone that allowed illegal aliens to make an end run around the immigration system to literally make an appointment to come into the country. So they welcome them in with open arms so they can say border crossings are down, when in reality they just legalized border crossings. So this new CBP-1 app being shut down is about as good as it gets. All future appointments are null and void. Not happening. It is remain in Mexico. This is, we get word there's another caravan headed our way, by the way. The caravan is too late. Here's President Trump talking about border security.
First, I will declare a national emergency at our southern border.
Thank you, Mr. President. This may have been initiative number one.
All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came. We will reinstate my Remain in Mexico policy. I will end the practice of catch and release. And I will send troops to the southern border to repel the disastrous invasion of our country. Under the orders I signed today, we will also be designating the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And by invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, I will direct our government to use the full and immense power of federal and state law enforcement to eliminate the presence of all foreign gangs and criminal networks, bringing devastating crime to U.S. soil, including our cities and inner cities.
So I let all that play because it's so important, because this is what America by and large wanted. Again, promises made, promises kept, promises delivered. The shock and awe president of common sense. That's what President Trump is. We're getting back to the basics: a secure border, a prosperous nation, and a safe nation. Back to the basics of the American principles we were founded on. Let's get government out of the way and lift all of us back up. And if government's going to have a role, its role is going to be to keep us safe and enable opportunity for everyone. That's it, and that's what he's doing. So remain in Mexico. No more catch and release. CBP One app closed. Troops to the southern border. How's Gavin Newsom going to handle that? Gavin Newsom won't send his National Guard to the border. President Trump will send his troops to the border in California. We know he has the cooperation of the governor of Texas. Not so much in Arizona. And there's little areas that in California he definitely needs. Then there's New Mexico as well, where there's border walls just sitting there rotting. That's been there for 4 years since Joe Biden shut it all down. I have to wonder, what in the world was Joe Biden thinking as President Trump's laying out his agenda that literally goes a 180 against what Joe Biden was offering up? Everything Joe Biden did destroyed America or put us on the track to destruction. And he's listening to Donald Trump say, we're getting back to common sense. No more idiocy from you, Joe. At one point, it looked like Joe fell asleep. That was, I guess, to be expected, but still quite stunning. Here's more from President Trump.
We will bring prices down, fill our strategic reserves up again, right to the top, and export American energy all over the world. We will be a rich nation again, and it is that liquid gold under our feet that will help to do it. With my actions today, we will end the Green New Deal, and we will revoke the electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto industry and keeping my sacred pledge to our great American auto workers. And
that is, we're going to save your jobs. That's why the union crowd was back with the Republicans. That's why this is a populist president. That's why the American people love this man. It's not rewarding billionaires. What it's doing is allowing more billionaires to be made while we move everyone out of poverty and into the middle class. That's all we really want. Looking at your comments on Facebook, and we really have a great crowd on Facebook. Remember, I used to have hundreds of people watching on Facebook. Now we're up to 30. Usually it's been 6 or 7. We'll see if this Zuckerberg character, a guy who took close to 60 grand a year out of my pocket by demonetizing me on Facebook, we'll see if he lives up to his word on opening up this platform. Lynette Hawkins, class action against Fauci. That's not a bad move. Becky Hudson writes, treason cannot be pardoned. Cindy Ferrado writes, thank you for all your hard work. That's very sweet of you, Cindy, but I would offer this up. I'm just the voice of all you guys. I don't work that hard. I try to make sure my message is one that's easy to comprehend, that it's strong, that it's easily repeatable, but it's really up to you guys to go take this message and run with it. So thank you for your hard work. We bask in all of this together, but your point is greatly accepted, and I'm grateful for your kind words. Matthew Ricard, I've been watching multiple live accounts today. Great day for the country. Absolutely, Matthew, and I appreciate that with all the choices you have out there that you pick Stinchfield, this podcast, to tune into. It really is just a fabulous day. One of the things I think the left is going to hate about President Trump is that he's going to bring peace not just to the United States, but to the world on a global stage. Look at what's happening already in the Middle East, the action we're getting there.
My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier. I'm pleased to say that as of yesterday, one day before I assumed office, the hostages in the Middle East are coming back home to their families.
That's called a peacemaker. And I leave the applause up because he deserves it. What this man has been through that he didn't need to do. And again, I want you to look at his face, his resolve, his strength, the tone of his speech. This is not about saying, we won, you lost. It's not about gloating. It's not about celebrating. It's about business. Now, my very good friend, Tim Burchett, the congressman from Tennessee, who's a very frequent player on the Stinchfield Tonight program on Real America's Voice, which I urge you all to tune into tonight. Tim Burchett says we have 150 days to get President Trump's agenda is through. He's very worried about the rhino crowd, the Republicans in name only, moderate Republicans, the uniparty, that they will fall back into line. The swamp will take back over and start redrowning many of these Republicans. So he says 150 days, we've got to get this done. If we don't get it done in 150 days, he really worries about the possibility of it actually getting done. So we shall see about that, but I'm with him on that. So you better garner your strength. And how do you do it? No better way than garnering strength by getting with the Energized Health folks. EnergizedHealth.com/Grant. This is not a diet. It's not a workout plan. It's a total body transformation with some very simple steps backed by science. And when I tell you simple, I mean simple. I was still eating much of the same foods that I ate before. I did not change much except how I eat the foods. My workout plan changed a little bit. In fact, it actually got easier than what I was doing. And I work out a lot. I pride myself on being in good shape. But I lost 15 pounds on the Energized Health plan. And again, it's a nutrition aspect, a workout aspect, a total mind, body, soul aspect. They have videos, live coaches, weekly Zoom calls. The program is spelled out in a great book. They have all kinds of electronic equipment to help you measure your success. This program is fabulous, and I wouldn't pitch it if I didn't think it was. So if you want to lose weight, if you want to get your life back, if you want to say, you know what, I'm making a change once and for all, get with Energized Health. The system is backed by the science. Patent pending. They have a 99.1% success rate and a money-back guarantee. EnergizedHealth.com/grant. Go to that website today. Learn about intercellular hydration, which is what this is really all about. It's great stuff. EnergizedHealth.com/grant. All right. More on President Trump. So this is what I love. You think this triggers the left, or does the left realize this was common sense? You know, as we look at the wildfires in California, we know they're short firefighters. We know they're short equipment. They need mechanics to fix some of the equipment and all the things that went wrong with the wildfires in California. They had fired firefighters for not taking the vaccine. Don't you think they'd love to have those firefighters back? What about the United States military? We'll take on an openly transgender soldier, but we won't take someone who didn't want to take an experimental shot into their arm. That makes no sense. So this is President Trump's answer to that.
This week, I will reinstate any service members who were unjustly expelled from our military for objecting to the COVID vaccine mandate with full back pay. And I will sign an order to stop our warriors from being subjected to radical political theories and social experiments while on duty. It's going to end immediately.
It needs to. It has to end. DEI. What does that have to do with fighting a war? Let's get our battle-tested members of our military back to the point where they can be battle-tested. Back to the point where they're battle-hardened. So all of that is important to me for this to happen. I'm just looking now in the Rumble chat. Too many crooks to name. Biden could have pardoned 500 and not gotten them all. Probably very true on that front. But again, back to the military. Thank you. We should have one goal and one goal in mind when you're a member of the United States military, and that is how to fight, how to kill, and how to claim victory over the enemy. That's it. I don't want to know about blackness, whiteness, Hispanicness. I don't want to know if you're a transgender lunatic or whether you're gay. Or I just want to know you can kill, man. That's it. If you can kill, I'll take you.
Our armed forces will be free to focus on their sole mission, defeating America's enemies.
How simple is it? How simple is it to fight back against your enemies? Be trained to fight your enemies. Not be trained to dance or put makeup on or how to put lipstick on a man. Okay? Put a skirt on a tank. I don't know. What were they doing there? Again, hopeful. All right? I'm going to leave you with two clips that are hopeful from President Trump. All right? This one.
And we will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching American astronauts to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars.
Can we do that? I mean, this is where Elon does it better than NASA. Look, Elon's happy about it. I wonder. So it is a great goal, and I'll tell you, when you have a goal like that, the exploration of space, just have to ask somebody like John F. Kennedy, right? He offered up the exploration of space goal. It unifies the country. There's something special about out to new frontiers. I'm for it. I don't know how much money it's going to cost us. I wish we'd get our finances right here at home in order first before we go spending money on a race to Mars. But he also said he would create our own Iron Dome missile defense system. That we definitely need. But again, maybe the most important message of all was the short one, 10 seconds long.
We will not forget our country. We will not forget our Constitution. And we will not forget our God.
Bingo. It's President Trump for you. He won't forget God. He turned to that big, beautiful chart that he never forget. I love that chart. Saved my life, that chart. Oh, I'm so relieved this man is in office. You know what a great day it is to do a podcast like this. Again, what was it, 4 years and 3 months? Waiting for this day to do this podcast that I would tell you we have a new president. And the new president happens to be an old president. 45-47. President Donald J. Trump. Which means Joe Biden has been relegated to a dash. 45-47. The reality is Joe Biden did much worse than a dash. He did a lot of damage to this country. We're going to get it back, though, and we're going to get it back with President Trump at the helm. I will tell you tonight I am expecting a memo to come out relating to trade. Peter Navarro was talking about this today. I was on a call with him. And this is very important. He calls it a historic memo on trade that we're going to start creating some studies, some investigations with some actionable items of how we get back to the business of making sure American businesses flourish. And what he said, this administration, when it comes to trade, we're going to be about low taxes and tariffs. So I think tariffs are going to be a thing. I'm okay with tariffs if we're tariffing countries that aren't treating us fair. I don't want to tariff countries that are treating us fair. Not many of those countries out there, by the way. So we'll play it all this. We're going to have to cover some of these executive orders in depth. We've got the Real America's Voice show tonight. That's going to be a special show tonight because we are going to get into the parties. We're at the Commander-in-Chief's ball. We've got live reports from there. We'll have some members of Congress on. We're going to break down some of the executive actions. But I think the Real America's Voice show tonight is going to be a celebratory show. So join me, 7 p.m. Eastern time on Real America's Voice. All right. Before I let you go, you know I love my friends over at the Wellness Company. There it is. Sorry, folks. This is one of their emergency medical kits. This is the basic one. I urge you to get it. 8 prescription medications, antivirals, antiparasitics in here. Now's the time. We saw wildfires. Drugstores are going to be closed. You get power outages. Drugstores closed. Drug shortages. We know there's drug shortages. In this kit, by the way, ivermectin is in here. All these prescriptions are made out directly to you. If you're allergic to something, a doctor's going to call you before they send it out. So you'll make sure you get the prescription medications you need. And this is the kit. So twc.health/grant. It's about being prepared. Make sure you are. twc.health/grant. Use that promo code GRANT for 10% off. All right. Again, on the message to the big tech CEOs. I don't trust you. I don't believe you. I got eyes in the front of my head, the back of my head, and the side of my head, and they all see 2020, and I'm watching, baby. I'm watching like a hawk. All right, you took money out of my pocket, both Google, TikTok, Facebook. It was a devious move. And now you want to sit there and yuck it up with the man who is our boss, our president, our leader, and you want to yuck it up with him as if you get a seat at the table now. You got to earn that seat at the table. Maybe that comes with writing checks. Fine, that has a part in it. But you better earn it through your actions. This is my message to these CEOs of these big tech companies. Earn our trust through your actions. TikTok, knock off the censorship. YouTube, knock off the censorship. Let people speak. Have faith that Americans can do their own homework. Stop censoring. All right, GrantStinchfield.com. GrantStinchfield.com. It is the way I stay in touch with you. At Stinchfield1776 on most of the social media platforms. I would love it if you gave me a follow. And even more important than that, if you're watching on YouTube or Rumble, my favorite outlet, by the way, Getter, Twitter, X now. Like and subscribe so you know when these podcasts come out. God bless every single one of you. Stinchfield's Army rolls. As I said, we'll see you on the Real America's Voice show tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Thanks for watching.